All right, guys, so you got myself, Josh.
Big Rich from Ohio Fish Rescue.
Now we are absolutely bored out of our minds, so we're figuring, what can we do today?
What we're trying to do today is this. We have them 3 tanks, but we use them right now for quarantine for any koi that are sick. But we want to tie them into our system. So come on over here, and this is what we're trying to do. Me and Josh, we modified Aquascape's plumbing to run a little 1/2-inch pipe off of there. And this is what we were going to do. I've got this creation here. I was going to cut this and make it longer and all that and have a valve for each tank and run it. But then I didn't want a 1/2 inch of water running off of the waterfalls. So then Josh came up with this idea. Ta-da! Sometimes just the simplest ideas work the best. So we're gonna just glue this into the end of that, and then we can put two on each tank if we want, if one ain't enough, and we can control how much water goes up there. Just so that we don't have to do water changes on that tank is all, and make our lives a little bit easier. Josh came up with the killer plan. All right, now Josh is getting ready to goop it up with the glue. All right, putting it together.
Always want to push in, turn until it stops, and you've got the angle that you want. Now if you want to make it look pretty, you can take your finger around, beautify it just a little bit, and then you sit and let it dry. Alright, so luckily we are fish people, so we keep spools and spools of airline tubing around because they always break.
And everyone else should too if you have more than 2 tanks.
So what we're going to do is first run our first 2 lines from the first 2 valves up to this tank. Of course, we're going to run it to where it's concealed. You don't just have wires hanging around the back. But 2 are going to run to this tank. I'm going to leave the center 2 for the center 265, and then take the 2 longest ones and run down to that other 195 down there. And let's go ahead and get to cutting.
Now to do this, we also need overflows on here.
Yes.
And our overflows will run straight down behind the tanks, go under and over to the river, but we'll show that later in the video. All right, this is how Josh did it. We taped on 2 hoses pointing down into the tank, and they're going over and taped over the edges, make it nice and tight. He comes down here, he's putting on a piece of tape right there at the bottom of the tank.
Now mind you, this is Gorilla Tape, so it's nice and strong. Not gonna break on you, not gonna come off. Of course we did black, so it tries to blend in. Should have actually done gray duct tape on the stand, but hey, whatever. But down here, as you can see, there's just enough hose to come over to the valves. And there goes hose number 1. Actually, we're gonna move these up top. And hose number 2. You can see they're just 1/8 inch airline hoses. So not a whole lot of water, but enough to, run it 24/7. You're good to go. And I gotta turn this valve on here. We just make sure this is dry down here, which it is. So we go ahead and open this valve. Open valve number 1 and lift off. Valve number 2, lift off.
Yep, there we go. Both are running. Good deal. Good deal. So now we got water coming into this tank as a fresh supply. Problem now is we have to put an overflow and a place to take your water back out so that you can never worry about doing water changes again.
So now that we have tank 1 set up, water is able to be flowing in. I have it shut off for the time being because we don't have an overflow on it. So now coming to the overflow, you need one of these bad boys. This right here is an overflow box. So this basically goes on the inside of the tank. Your water level will stay right about here. And if you look, you can see these 2 chambers on the back side. This one here always stays filled with water. you can then siphon all the air out of this overflow tube to where this chamber, and the tube stay filled with water all the time. As your water level rises, it'll overflow here and fall over into this overflow. Then you take this and return it to wherever you want. Now we're going to show you where we're going to return this to.
Right. You can return that to a drain and have water running through constantly, or you can return it to your sump and then have a sump, you know, go through filtration and being pumped back up. It's however you guys want to do it.
We're going to actually want to flip these because this is the output, or I can move this forward where it's in front of there pumping around, but probably move the intake over to this side, butt it up against the intake, and then put the outflow on that side.
Okay, you can see that we have the outside of the thing full of water up to here, and it won't flow or do nothing. We have the inside full of water. See how it's above the water level? The water level's down here. And then this tube, since there's water inside and water out here, we siphoned out the air in between. Now that's full of water, this is full of water, the tube's full of water. So any water that gets added in, once it rises up and falls over here, will now get transferred to this line right here and overflow and fall out. And what we did was we ran an overflow to our waterfall feature that Greg put in, and we're just going to cut it off right about here. So it's going to flow into here and go on out down our waterfall and then down the stream through all the plants. But for right now, we got to wait for this water to level to fill up to there. And then this will be done, and we will never have to do water changes on this tank again. That makes me happy. One less job around here. Now I can put this table back there and cover up that corner. Josh, grab the other side of that table, please. All the way back. There we go. Now, that's how we usually leave it, to where people that walk through here from here have no way to go but out this door to the back deck. Back here, we access through the other side to do feeding and cleaning. And if it gets to the point where we ever start using our workout equipment back there, I'll just fold this table in half and use half of it right here, and then leave this aisle open.
All right, guys, so we're not done just yet. You've seen us hook up the tank, hook up the overflow. Now it's like, where are all these overflows going to be going? So we had a great idea, so come over on this side and check this out. But you guys
Look at
know,
Godzilla.
We're always trying to add plants and outdo ourselves on our own system here. So back here, you can see we've got this black tub. Just so happens it fits right in this crook. It's the same height as the walls of our river. We might have done this on purpose. It might have been a complete accident. You'll never know. But this right here, it sits back in this cubby. We're going to return this tank water to this black tub here. And it's going to overflow the spillway and back into the river. This allows
and then back into the pool right here through the waterfall.
This allows us to put way more plants in here. I've already got my grow light back here that's plugged in. So we're going to go ahead and mount this. For one, it's going to have natural sunlight, and then also have a grow light on a timer. So we can just have a lot more plants.
The natural grow light coming from these. Sorry for freaking out the camera. But yeah, it sounds like a great addition. You can just add on for more plants.
Now, I don't know about the flow coming out of this thing, so what I'm going to do here is take this whole edge and basically silicone it to the side of this river, so if anything comes out here and tries getting under...
Well, we've got them cans of waterfall foam, use the same thing.
Right. So that is our plan next, to try and up this whole ante here on the side. But, you know, to make it blend in, we're going to have to do rocks up here to cover this and get it all set up, rocks up here, just so this blends in with the rest of the pond.
Right. I'm good with that idea. That's great. And our plants are starting to really grow.
Now, something else you can do is you can take that, put this plant there, and put that rock waterfall over here. Then you can waterfall down into that tub and over here.
That's possible too. As a backdrop for that tub right there. So no longer walk through there.
Right.
Okay.
Well, you can't walk through there as of now unless you want to get your feet wet. All right, so as you guys can see, we got the two for this first tank. Two in the center are blank because we're not hooking that tank up just yet. We need to go to the store and get some plumbing. But we got the two for the end, and that's hooked up with another overflow box.
Now this is the last tank in the row. This is another overflow box, a little older. It's got the overflow inside. Here is the tube for it. I'm going to have to open this. There we go. Now the tube's in. And we're going to have to fill that up with water on both sides. And then we are still going to have to connect this tube here around the corner and then down to that black tub right there.
All right, so we're using these overflow tubes right here, putting this piping on here. Got to, of course, loosen this up a little bit more. Once we get this on, this will then be our overflow, and we'll be good to go. All right, so we're done. I mean,
we got the hose on there. Securing it with a hose clamp. And then it's going to run down. We're going to have to tie up the other side or clamp it on or something so that it fills up that tub over there and then can overflow into the river. That's where we'll put a bunch of new plants in there. Why not reuse the water and take the nitrates out while you can? Now all we got to do is fill this side with water, fill that side. Oh, the whole inside fell off, Josh. We got to grab that and bolt it back on up here. The way this works is there's two slots in this right there, one on each side, and the screw goes in there, and then you can slide it up and down and tighten it at the water level you want it to be.
all right, guys, so you see we have the pond in place here. You can see it has a little spillway off the end here, but with this being such low flow and it's right on the edge, if you have water coming out of this, most likely what's going to happen, the water's going to hook this edge and go in and leak behind the pond. So my dad had a good idea. He went and cut a piece of plastic two size, but he also heated it up and put a bend to it. So what we're going to do here, basically install this little lip right here, and we're going to silicone it in place. And what that's going to do is it's going to route the water. Now it can't travel back uphill and get behind there as long as we have a little bead of silicone running right here, that the water gets past and uses this, basically its new spillway now. So here what we're going to do now, we have our GE1 Silicone 1, and this is great for doing aquarium projects. So all I'm going to do, basically put a nice healthy layer of silicone all the way across the front, and then again up the sides, and up the side.
And across the back. Do the back too.
I was going to do that after.
That's all right. It'll squeeze out and you can use your finger to silicone it over. It gives it 2 points of holding up.
Yeah. All right. Now the most crucial part, guys. Popping this thing in place.
Don't slide it back like that. Go straight down. There you go. Good man.
Now, you just want to ease it out with all the silicone. Grab and hold. There we go. Now your silicone is basically going to fill in the gaps that your water.
There, use this as a weight. That's fine, just set it on there. Okay.
Alright guys, so this has now been setting for an hour or two. We're going to go ahead and take this weight off. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the silicone on here. But of course we're going to let this sit overnight to actually dry before we put water on it. But I just wanted this to set so it could have some durability and strength to it before I go messing around with it and moving it again, putting more silicone on. So what we're going to do here, basically do each side. And make sure it's got a good seal. Same thing on this side. Now, I'm going to do both sides just so the water cannot fall off the side and catch under. Just so it can basically guide the water.
If for some reason it's out of level, the water would all go to one side and fall off that side. and could go off the edge and go back on the rubber vinyl liner and all that. So Josh is just taking extra precautions so we don't have problems in the future. Josh, you're also going to need one right across the back. Real thin, real small little bead. Even smaller, way smaller than that. Rag right here. Everyone's seeing what you're doing. Explain it.
Older. All right, so now we're just smoothing out this silicone here just to make it pretty to the eye. Of course, we don't really care what it looks like, but other people surely will, and they will judge your work all the time. So if you just put it in a
You're not saying there's a lot of judgmental people out there, are you?
No, never.
Our world is full of just nothing but caring, good-hearted, great people.
I'm just saying, if you take the extra 10 seconds and put pride into your work, it'll show to the outside world.
Much better. I love that.
Now these sides, I'm not really going to touch. Those are just going to be big mounds because you want that to guide the water. But I can make that pretty.
All the way across the whole top of it.
Doing the same thing on this side. Now that that part is done.
Hey, it's done. Let's turn the water on.
Not quite yet. Now this is going.
Why not yet?
Because if you get the silicone wet, then things can move. You want this to 100% cure and then put water on it because it might find a little tiny microscopic hole and water will get through. As the water flows, it's going to make a bigger and bigger hole.
Right, and the silicone appears to be dry by touching it. It feels dry. That's only a skin on the outside. The inside needs to cure, so 24 hours always on silicone.
So now with that whole other spillway over on that side, it's now blocked off through here. You remember there was a big table here. We went ahead and took that down and put a little square table here just so you can set stuff and use the space. And two, it also protects the piping under there so someone's not trying to lean over and look at the front and they end up, busting off the piping and whatnot.
Right, good idea. So table we're used to having there and setting stuff on, and now we have access to the back of the tanks this way and feeding the fish, and the other side is definitely blocked off now, as Josh said. So good job so far, Josh. All we got to do is get the water running and put the plants in it.
There we go. All right, guys. So yeah, as you can see, the tank is now full. We did medicate them and move a few outside of the koi pond before we went ahead and put this back on our system. As you can see, it is overflowing down. It is a slow trickle now, but constant nonetheless. We now have some floating plants in here, and it's already starting to spread. They're all starting to, fan out and look great. We are going to put this grow light right here on it to give it a little additional light. Plus, it has the skylight. But as you guys can see, the trickle of water is very, very slow. But with the addition of the other two tanks, it'll be 3 times this, and it'll just be soaking up more nitrates that are from all these fish on this whole back wall. So I hope you guys loved today's video. You guys got a little insight on how we think around here. We've got them 3 tanks all roaring, ready to go on our system now. So they've got a constant supply of water dripping in, overflowing out. So I hope you guys got a little insight on how we like to do things here at the rescue. So if you guys want to see more crazy adventures with the Ohio Fish Rescue, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And as always, stay fishy, my friends.